On today's episode of Phinside The NFL, powered by BetUS, is the NFL's media changing their narrative on Tua Tagovailoa? It sure seems that way. We will talk about that. Plus, given what we saw from Skylar Thompson yesterday, should the Miami Dolphins pursue Daniel Jones even harder than they were expected to? Plus, we will talk about Chop Robinson. We will go over PFF stats and next-gen stats, as well as PFF grades as well from yesterday's 34-15 win by the Dolphins over the Patriots. So we got a lot to talk about. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown.
And he will score!
Field down the near side, man open, touchdown!
The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep! He's got it for the touchdown again!
Tagovailoa trying to pick up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown!
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan.
Let's go!
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. Appreciate all you coming through today on this Victory Monday as the Miami Dolphins are celebrating their third straight win in a row. They are one spot away and out of the final wild card position. Those damn Broncos, they ended up beating the Raiders yesterday, and they remain ahead of the Miami Dolphins. So hopefully that can change up real soon. I know we went over it yesterday. The final three games for the Broncos on their schedule are pretty tough, considering it's the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. The Bengals are, they could be either fighting for a spot or fighting for tomorrow. The Chargers could be trying to move up. And of course, let's hope the Chiefs, they lose a little bit, so they're fighting for a spot. So all those are meaningful games because, I just don't see. Let me put it this way. I like the Dolphins' chances a lot better of running the table than the Broncos' chances. And you know what? Listen, Bo Nix is looking like the guy we saw. I had a conversation yesterday. He's looking like the guy we saw early on in Auburn in terms of trajectory and what he was going to turn into. I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and you look at it, it's very similar to what Brock Purdy was. When you look at Brock Purdy and, the film when he was originally at Iowa State, Iowa. The original, film on him, his early years, you like the trajectory, you like what you saw, and then it kind of dipped off and dwindled. And Bo Nix, he played good back in Oregon after dipping off a little bit after his early career at Auburn. But, I think a lot of people, after what Mariota accomplished and et cetera, a lot of people aren't believers in quarterbacks that come out of Oregon. Let's be honest, Herbert is a little bit of a rarity in terms of guy who's actually performing coming out of Oregon. You know what I mean? So, hey, could Dylan Gabriel be the next dude? I remember Dylan. Listen, what's funny about the Dylan Gabriel thing too is, again, I remember Dylan Gabriel when he first came in, and obviously because there was a lot of parallels with him and Tua, being left-handed, all that kind of jazz. But I remember Dylan Gabriel when he came into college football. And, I remember watching Dylan Gabriel really early on during during his time at UCF. And, and now you see, again, are people falling for the Oregon, Is it a system that elevates him? I don't know. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. You know, I say all that to say this. Bo Nix is playing very well right now. Bo Nix is playing better than I thought he would early on. That's for sure. While you got Jaden Daniels hitting a bit of a slump right now. Caleb Williams is still up and down. And Drake May is basically in a situation similar to Tua was early on in his career, where the coaching staff ain't that great and the talent around him isn't good. So, you know, it is what it is. So, shout out to all of you. Please do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. Another thing I wanted to talk about, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Who heard what the Jets did today? The Jets went out and they basically got the 33rd team as consultants for their GM and head coach search. Yeah, Fox, I don't believe in Denver's roster. I really don't. But anyways, the Jets. First of all, because, you know, I was in, obviously, Florida last week. We didn't have a chance to chop it up. How hilarious is it, everything that's gone wrong with the Jets right now? Joe Douglas, Robert, so everyone's been fired. Woody Johnson, like, I was reading articles last week about how Woody Johnson's son is getting a bigger say in the team. This kid's like a teenager. It's crazy. You know, I think it's absolutely hilarious what's happened to the Jets. And, you know, listen, did I not call this? Did I not call this all offseason? Did I not say the media was overrating the hell out of this team? They ain't done nothing. And what did I say about Aaron Rodgers recovering from that injury? Man, I said, remember what I said? I said Dan Marino was in his early 30s when he had that injury. And, you know, he was never the same. What's this guy going to be? And here we are sitting here. It's absolute dysfunction in New York. And it's absolutely hilarious. I love it. I love it. I called this from the get-go. I knew where this was headed in New York. You know, I love how after every game someone posts a stat to show that they didn't get better going from Aaron Rodgers to Zach Wilson. I think it's absolutely hilarious. But anyways, now they've hired the 33rd team to basically be consultants for them. Right? Mike Tannenbaum, who's a former Jets general manager, and former Vikings general manager Rick Spielman, you know, they basically, you know, they're going to be leading the way for the 33rd team. Hey, shout out to Kyle Krabs, man. I know you work for the 33rd team now, brother. You know, a little more sabotage wouldn't hurt, Kyle. You know, give him your suggestions. You know, send him back a little bit. And it's so funny because the 33rd team, about 5 or 6 days ago, they posted a list of 5 potential GM candidates to replace Joe Douglas. It got brought up to everyone's attention today, and the 33rd team deleted the article. Who they suggested, and their list of 5 candidates was Lions assistant general manager Ray Agnew, Chiefs assistant general manager Mike Bergonzi, Colts assistant general manager Ed Dodds, and Saints assistant general manager Jeff Ireland. Oh, please, God. Kyle Krabs, do your work. Make the 33rd team recommend Jeff Ireland to the New York Jets, please, God. Oh my God, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. So, I think it's absolutely hilarious. You know, and then there's another candidate who's emerging. Apparently, Dawn Aponte, who's connected. She's connected through Mike Tannenbaum. So I mean, you know, and she's the NFL Chief Football Administrative Officer. And she worked for the Jets from 91 to 2005. She's a Tannenbaum disciple. So let's go. Mike Tannenbaum going to screw up the Jets franchise. Let's go. I'm here for it. Please let it roll. Go ahead. I think it's absolutely hilarious where we are at with the Jets right now. It has gotten worse than people even could have imagined, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. I mean, this is absolute cinema. I'm loving every single freaking minute of it. All right? Every minute of it, I'm loving. I'm loving it. Please, Jeff Ireland all day. Robert Thomason knows what's up. He knows exactly what's up. Guys, over 220 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Let's help me out with my friend Al Algorithm. And let's get this rolling out to all the people out there. All right. So, Chop. Man. You know, before I get into the thick of everything today, continuing my opening thoughts on Chop here. Man, all you people that were so quick to throw this kid under the bus, so quick. You know, we had people, comparing him to Charles Harris, people comparing him to Deion Jordan, like absolute embarrassing takes. People, couch fans, people who have no track record of being right with evaluations or evaluating players or, a draft track record. People with zero credibility when it comes to tape work. We're out here calling this guy, all over Twitter, all over YouTube, calling this guy a bust after 5 years. Absolutely. While you had me who was breaking down the film, I was showing people going back to the Colts game. He was being held. All of a sudden, over the last couple of weeks, people want to make a big deal about him being held when I was calling it weeks and weeks ago. When I was breaking down the film, I was showing people why he was getting held and how he's starting to string together pass rush moves. And you were seeing the growth as a pass rusher. No one wanted to believe me because the sacks weren't there. And I kept telling people, it's coming. The light's coming. And all of a sudden, it's blowing up. And it's blowing up to this extent right now. Heading into Sunday Night Football yesterday, and no, it did not change. So it's the same heading into Monday Night Football tonight. Chop Robinson was number 1 in pass rush win rate from the edge position in Week 12. Now, reason. Why does this matter? Reason. Why are you telling me this? You know why? Because if this holds through Monday night, that would be the second consecutive week that Chop Robinson is number 1 in the NFL in pass rush win rate for edge players. And again, I've tried to tell people, and I know there's people out there who trust me, who listen to me, and they get it. Edge and corner are the 2 hardest positions to learn, let alone master, in the NFL. This kid's getting it. Him and Jared Verse are going to be the best edge rushers of this class. I'm telling you right now. And you're seeing the crazy bend. Look at you want something? See, this is where you can't look at the box score with edge rushers and just look at the sack. You can't even just look at the pressure column. You want a perfect tape study? Go look at Jalen Ramsey's sack from yesterday. Go. You know why he ran free? Because Chop drew 2 blockers. He drew that much attention. You're seeing crazy bend to his frame right now, like Von Miller-esque bend. One of the most explosive get-offs in the NFL. He's stringing together pass rush moves. You're seeing him develop his pass rush move repertoire. You're starting to see his hand technique, which was his biggest issue coming out, clean up. All he needs to do, once this guy learns how to set the edge consistently, he is going to be a problem because that's where the tackles numbers will rack up for an edge player is against the run, in run defense. Look at what he did yesterday. A sack and a half. Forced an incompletion, which was originally called a strip sack fumble. Had a big tip on 3rd down to force an incompletion. Chop was dominant. Chop is beginning to become consistently dominant, people. All of you that hated on him and were so quick to say, oh, they should have just drafted an offensive line. This guy's a bust. Where are you now? The offensive line's not only holding up, Chop Robinson is a freaking stud. It's what the deal is. Man, I tell you. Like, I don't know, man. Too quick, man. I don't know. People just this microwave society. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating as a content creator. So, man, shout out to Chop Robinson. That man is a difference maker right now. That man is a stud right now. That man is an absolute stud right now. So, shout out to Chop, man. That's my guy. That's my guy. From the draft process, I mean, look at this time last November is when I was bringing him up about a potential fit here because, look at Chubb. Chubb, I don't know if this guy's going to be back this year. I know McDaniel keeps giving his coach speak about him, but I don't know what that matters. Because even if he does come back, what's Chubb going to be at? 60%, 70%? It is what it is. Chop is becoming an absolute monster right now. Absolute monster. Love it. Absolutely love it. So, yeah, chop it up, man. Go eat a chopped salad. Go get some sacks and eat a chopped salad. And you want me to do even better with Chop? Check this out. You want to see it get even better for you? Look at where he ranks right now all season. He's top 10. He's number 10 in pass rush win rate rankings. 23%. 23%. That's impressive stuff from Chop right now. I don't know how people were, pressures don't matter, when I would show film of legitimate pressures from Chop forcing incompletions. I would literally show this. And people would try to tell me, but pressures don't matter. Okay. Give me a break on that one. Chop is unbelievable right now. He's playing big time football. There just is no other way to say it. Chop is that dude right now. And all you people who had the audacity to compare him to Deion Jordan or Charles Harris, I don't want to hear your opinion about pass rush development ever again. During Miami's winning streak right now, during their 3-game winning streak right now, Chop Robinson has 19 quarterback pressures. Only Daniel Hunter has more pressures over the last 3 games at 24. But he's had more snaps, so they have the same exact pressure rate. They have the highest pressure rate over the last 3 games are Daniel Hunter and Chop Robinson at 24.7%. Like, I'm telling you, this kid's figuring it out. This kid is figuring it out. Did you see how many pressures he had when they did the final charting on PFF? We'll get into it later, but I'll tell you right now. They counted 10 pressures for Chop yesterday. 10! 10 pressures! Menace. The man is a menace right now. And I don't want to hear any different. Chop is that dude. Unbelievable stuff, man. So, all of you that were way too quick to discount this kid, sit down. Seriously, sit down. What did you expect, Reason? Everyone jumps the gun and makes premature opinions. It happens all the time. It takes 3 years to judge a position player. 110%. 3-year rule. Exactly. Pressures definitely create turnovers. That is, whoever's saying pressures don't create turnovers in the chat, you've lost your mind. Pressures can not only force incompletions, pressures can force bad decisions, bad throws, bad reads, and thus interceptions. So anyone saying pressures can't turn, into turnovers, I don't know who's saying that, because I see Jeremiah Kelly schooling someone in the chat on that. Whoever said that, you've lost your mind. Whoever Jeremiah is talking to, I don't know what you're on, but pressures definitely can force turnovers. That's not even a question. And thus, this brings me to my jabroni of the week. All of the people who are quick to call Chop a bust, you are the jabronis of the week. Take it like a man, take it like a woman, take it like whatever gender you identify with or are. You are the jabroni of the week. All of y'all that were quick to call this kid a bust, all of y'all that were quick to doubt this kid and not give him the you didn't even give him half a season. Some of y'all weren't even giving him half a season. Y'all were calling him a bust in week 4, week 5. It's unbelievable. So take it on the chin. Take it like a man, a woman, whatever you identify. You are the jabroni of the week. And remember, we've all collectively been jabroni of the weeks. I've been under the label jabroni of the week when it's people who doubted something or whatever. It's your turn now, Chop haters and doubters. Sit. Shout out to Chop Robinson, man. Pork chops and applesauce. Shout out to Chop Robinson doing the damn thing right now. I love it. I'm here for it. Every single minute of it. We got a lot to go over today. So before we get into it, this episode, like I said, it's sponsored by BetUS. Go over to betus.com right now. Use promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Get your first 3 deposits matched by 150% up to $2,000. The Monday night game, the spread is the Ravens favored by 2. And they're also favored on the money line. So, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if there was an upset tonight and the Chargers won. I'm starting Herbert in both my fantasy leagues. So go over to betus.com. Celebrate the Miami victory. Make some money at betus.com. Some of the quickest payouts in the industry. 24/7 customer service. Again, use promo code YouTube150. Shout out to betus.com for sponsoring the video. That said, we got a lot to go over. Like I said. So let's start with a little housekeeping, and then let's get into the media narrative about Tua, because it's really something to watch right now. All right, so the Miami Dolphins made a few roster moves today. They activated Isaiah Wynn off the physically unable to perform list. They waived Lester Cotton. Pinch me, I must be dreaming. We upgraded at offensive line and dropped Lester Cotton. Oh, what a day. They released Tucker Addington from the practice squad, and they signed Zach Trinner to the practice squad. So that doesn't look like Blake Ferguson is coming back anytime soon. Well, I mean, I don't want to say anytime soon, but like this week at least, it doesn't look like it is. I don't know. Interesting there, but Isaiah Wynn, listen, you gotta go back to this guy when he's good to go. This is how we're going to be able to run inside more effectively in the December and January months, especially if we're going to make a playoff push. We need Isaiah Wynn in there, not Robert Jones. Now, you want to move Robert Jones to right guard and have a little battle between Liam Eichenberg for a right guard? have at it. Isaiah Wynn needs to go back to left guard. Aaron Brewer, Isaiah Wynn, Teron Armstead gives us a, dare I say, if Rob Jones is healthy and Armstead is healthy, dare I say, that left side could be dominant. That left side could be dominant. Let's go. Jason says you want to praise a player because he gets pressure. Go ahead. My bar is higher than that. Well, don't you love Jalen Phillips right now? He's on pace. He had more tackles than Jalen Phillips through 10 weeks. They got the same amount of sacks through 12 weeks. I believe Jalen Phillips had 3.5 through the first 12, as does him. And he's got more pressures than Jalen Phillips through the first 12 weeks. If you actually look at Chop, he is on pace for same thing that Phillips had, 8.5, 9 sacks. He's on pace for, if you look at where they went, and then he's got more pressures than Phillips had as a rookie, and he's got more tackles through the first 10 weeks than Phillips had as a rookie too. He's actually outpacing Phillips in every other category than sacks, and then he's on the same pace Phillips was on sack-wise. What does that tell you? He's going to have a better year than Phillips as a rookie. And Phillips was drafted higher. So, I don't know what the expectation here is, man. Not every... go look at how many rookies have come into the league at edge and come out of the gate with 10-plus sacks. It's ridiculous. Man, he's outperforming Jalen Phillips' rookie year in every category but sacks, and in that category, he's on the same pace Phillips was sack-wise. And he's the better athlete. And Jalen Phillips had a bigger bag of pass rush moves coming out than Chop did. So that should tell you even more about how good the ceiling on Chop is higher than what it was on Phillips. I'm just saying. Let's call this what it is. And he's just starting to hit that stride. I told y'all. What did I tell you a couple weeks ago when he was getting held, when I would break down the film on Tuesdays? I said the sacks are going to come in bunches, and you're starting to see them, 3 games in a row with sacks now? Just saying. Just got to have patience, man. It's okay to be patient. Anyways, that's a general conversation. That was a general statement. I love the homie Jason, so I'm not singling him out, but I'm just talking to everyone here. All right, so let's get into this. The media and Tua Tagovailoa. Now, yesterday, during the post-game show, I played Matt Ryan's little segment. And if you remember, what did Matt Ryan say? Right? Matt Ryan was out here talking about the importance of Tua to his team. Right? He was talking about basically how there aren't many more important players to their team than Tua Tagovailoa. And, we saw this start to get expanded on over the last 24 hours, and from some places you wouldn't think they'd come from. But anyways, his exact quote was, I think you can argue nobody's more important to their team than Tua Tagovailoa. So, Dan Orlovsky this morning, this is what he had to say. He echoed that sentiment, but Dan Orlovsky's always been known as a Tua supporter. But
there are 5 quarterbacks more important to their football team in our league than Tua, and we're seeing that. And anybody who ever wants to argue about it with me, don't ever do it again. They're right back in the playoff race right now. They're the 8th seed. Dude, when this team has Tua and Mike McDaniel together, they're 23-14. They score 27 points a game. They have 380 yards of offensive game. He is one of the 5 most important quarterbacks in our league to their team.
So Dan Orlovsky's called him one of the 5 most important quarterbacks in the league to their team. You know, like you said, they're 23. McDaniel and Tua are 23-14 together. They average 27.1 points per game and about 381 yards per game as an offense. So that wasn't really a shock to any of us. You know, Orlovsky praise, that wasn't really a shock. But I agree. Would you agree with him? I would agree with him that, yes, we learned and we have learned just the importance of Tua Tagovailoa to this offense. He makes it tick, etc., right? But then it started coming from places you wouldn't expect. So let's see look at what Chris Sims said yesterday.
It was quarterbacks from Florida. That was the theme. Yeah, hot Tua. He was hot today. The Dolphins have been hot ever since he's been back at the helm at the quarterback position. He's got phenomenal weapons. It was all about Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Tyreek Hill. You know the cast of characters, but they were surgical, dissecting the Patriots defense today, had their way with them. And look at this, my man here, Tua. Lefty, is he the best ball handler in all of football at the quarterback position? I say yes. All right.
So Chris Sims just called Tua the best ball handler in football, and he calls him my man Tua. This guy who's hated on him through so many of his top 40 quarterback lists has just done nothing but hate on Tua, is now calling him my man Tua. But it gets even better. I mean, we've heard Colin Cowherd over the last couple weeks. You know, when the Dolphins were 4-6, he had them ranked as a top 10 team. So we've heard Colin Cowherd the last couple weeks he's admitted he's coming around on Tua, etc. Chris Sims has now come around on Tua, but it gets even better from there. Skip Bayless. Remember when everybody said, quote, poor Tua must retire? Unquote, not I. Look at him now. Are you kidding me? Skip Bayless is now a Tua supporter and endorsing Tua Tagovailoa. I used to watch this guy sit up there with Shannon and do nothing but rip Tua Tagovailoa apart, even when he was at Alabama, let alone when he got to the NFL. Skip Bayless has been one of Tua's biggest detractors, and I don't know whether it's the Oklahoma Sooner fan in him or whatever, but now Skip Bayless is out here. Oh, everyone told Tua to retire, not me. Look at him now. I was right. Skip. Come on. I was one of the few in my own community's media saying I wouldn't release Tua this offseason. Yes, I would draft a contingency plan, but my hope was for Tua to stay healthy, Tua to continue to ball. You draft a contingency plan. After a year with the contingency plan developing him, you have a decision to make. If Tua keeps balling and stays healthy, you now have a trade asset to get a pick back. Now, I've also said over the last couple weeks with his play, I don't think you need to spend a first-round pick. I think you can try and get someone in the second and third, but I do still think you need a legitimate contingency plan in place. So, while you had people out here, including my own partner for Fin Too Deep, Neil Driscoll, who were advocating for releasing him. You know, I was saying McDaniel would stay, but Greer would go. He wanted to blow the whole thing up. And he wasn't the only one. You had everyone across our own media. You had everyone in the mainstream media. You had everyone in the NFL media. Blow it up. Move off them. Blah, 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 blah. People were out here putting dates on when you can get out of that deal, etc., etc. And I was the voice of reason saying, listen, we want him to be healthy. So when you draft the contingency plan, you can develop the contingency plan. Tua stays healthy. Hopefully Tua balls. And then you get to a crossroad where, hey, I've got a quarterback who's in the 6th or 7th year. He's balling out. We've got him under contract. Do we keep him, or do we move forward with a contingency plan that's developing very nicely, that we spent a day 1 or day 2 draft pick on? And hey, if we're not going to move forward with that draft pick, we can trade him. And who did I always talk about? The Patriots. The Patriots, what they do with Brissett, Garoppolo, turn developed quarterbacks into assets. That's what we need to be doing, not wasting our time with Skylar Thompson. So now Skip is embracing him, but it continues. Guys, I remember playing this guy's video up here. Craig Carton. Now this guy is endorsing Tua in the MVP talk. We remember Craig Carton was out here saying Tua's never going to be anything. Dolphins can't win with Tua. Now listen to what the guy's out here saying.
He's not going to have the stats, they're not going to have the record, and they're not going to win the division. But if we went down to the definition of most valuable player, how do you not give Tua the award? So if they make a run, let's say they go, I don't know, 5-1. I'm making it up, obviously. Yeah. They have the Jets twice. The schedule's not all that difficult. You guys will show it to me here. Green Bay obviously is a tough game this week. Houston's not great. San Francisco stinks right now. Cleveland and the Jets. That's not a stretch to say that if they're scoring 30 points a game, which they are, with Tua coming back, that they go 5-1 there, right? If they go 5-1, they're in the playoffs as a lock. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games since.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You got Craig Carton out here endorsing Tua as the most valuable player to his team in the NFL. This guy who was saying just a few weeks ago, the Miami Dolphins need to move off of Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa ain't ever going to win anything. This is ridiculous. We're watching literally the media's narrative change right before our eyes on Tua Tagovailoa. Weeks ago, they were telling this guy to retire. Weeks ago, they were saying Miami can't win with this guy, can't rely on this guy. Now everyone's out here saying, oh, look at him now. Oh, he's the most valuable player to his team. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, what is happening before my eyes right now? I am literally watching the media's narrative on Tua Tagovailoa shift before my eyes. And even some of his biggest haters, doubters, and retractors are turning into Tua fans, i.e. Colin Cowherd over the last couple weeks, Chris Sims, who I just showed you, Skip Bayless out here trying to take victory laps on Tua not retiring and trying to do I told you so. Craig Carton has been a big hater of him. Like, my Lord right now. My Lord. It's absolutely flabbergasting. Hey, I'm here for it. And the receipts are going to run deep against these people. You're not just going to get away with it. But my Lord, really? This is what we're doing? There is no shame. It's like when I saw a certain YouTuber last year after the Denver game declaring Tua was a franchise quarterback and just praising the hell out of him and apologizing to all the people he argued with and then only to flip back on him a couple weeks later, and we just had to wait till December. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what is going on here. But I mean, part of me is just like, yo, stay on that side. Stay on that side. You know, like, go over there. Go. Y'all never believed in this kid. Y'all didn't know how to watch the film, or you watched the film and didn't know how to interpret the film, and you've doubted this kid since day one. Now y'all want to flip because we're winning? What are y'all going to be like if we go into Lambeau and beat the Packers? Y'all are going to start claiming you were Tua fans from day one? Is that the next move? It's unbelievable. There's just no shame. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. A lot of these people don't stand for nothing or on nothing, and it's crazy. And you can see that just through Tua's career and how and people's takes on him. It's nuts. Hey, I'm here for the changing narrative. I'm here for it. And Tua's doing it himself, and he said he wants to go into Green Bay and kill narratives this week. So I'm here for it. But let's not act like y'all weren't taking every first opportunity to drag this kid, to discount this kid, and to not give him the props when you deserve them. Let's be honest with ourselves. And, I mean, going even further, who saw what Jason Garrett said yesterday about Tua Tagovailoa? He compared Tua Tagovailoa to Magic Johnson. Tua Tagovailoa drew unique comparison to Magic Johnson from NBC's Jason Garrett. When you're an NFL quarterback, it's a massive compliment to be compared to NFL greats following a successful Sunday. But an all-time basketball player, that may be a new one for Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Is it though? Because how many times have people stressed how he's the best, he's a point guard, how he's the best ditcher in the NFL, right? It's just their fancy way of saying he's the best passer in the NFL, really, if you want to break it down, and most accurate. Following his team's dominant 34-15 Week 12 victory over the Patriots, former Cowboys head coach turned NBC Sports analyst Jason Garrett compared the lefty to not a former signal caller, but to former Los Angeles Lakers point guard Magic Johnson. Quote, "The guy's Magic Johnson," said Garrett. "I've never seen a guy see the field this quickly and get the ball out of his hand so quickly into holes where guys can catch it. He's a magician." The comparison, of course, is derived from a point guard's task of distributing the basketball efficiently to teammates at a high level. Tagovailoa and the Dolphins gave New England fits with their high-flying, timing, precision offense on Sunday afternoon. The 26-year-old completed 29 of 40 pass attempts for 317 yards and 4 touchdowns, including 3 in the first half. Since returning from concussion in Week 8, he has the highest passer rating in the NFL. You hear that? Since he returned, the highest passer rating in the NFL. All right? You hear that? And when you look at what he's done since he's come back, it's been unbelievable. Since he's returned to the lineup, he's 130 of 170, 1,277 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a 116.2 passer rating. And by the way, that 130 of 70, that's a 77% completion percentage. Tua's been lights out. And, you know, the full quote was from Jason Garrett was, quote, "Tua was out for 4 games. They averaged 10 points a game. He's back now. They average 30. It doesn't take rocket science to figure this thing out. The guy's Magic Johnson. I've never seen a guy see the field so quickly, get the ball out of his hands so quickly into these little holes where these guys can catch it. He's a magician." The props are real for Tua Tagovailoa right now. I'm not used to it. I'm like, what's going on out here? I'm like, what's going on? And Tua Tagovailoa is just doing unbelievable stuff. And check this out right now. Let's keep up with the Tua theme for a sec here. Look at what he's done right now so far. Check the company he's about to keep, potentially. Tua Tagovailoa keeps Dolphins season from capsizing. It's quite fitting that the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins equated his evolution as a player, his growth as a passer, his influence on this one struggling team with a nautical device called the Seakeeper, which is a computer-controlled gyroscope that's supposed to reduce boat roll and pitch to create a smoother, more comfortable ride at sea. That's exactly the type of stabilizing influence the 50-year quarterback prides himself on having in 2024. Quote, if anyone in here has a boat or anyone knows much about boats that don't have Seakeepers and there's waves, that boat will start to rock, Tua said, referring to the balancing tool that starts at $16,000. You turn the Seakeeper on while there's waves. The boat there's like a gyroscope thing in there that sort of counters the weight of the waves and controls how the boat is moving. So that's essentially what we sort of have, Tua said, referencing to the 4-6 Dolphins, which are now 5-6, which are still in the postseason hunt, courtesy of its now 3-game winning streak. It's like turning a Seakeeper on. And there's completed passes, league leading 73.4 completion percentage heading into this week 12 victory. Third down execution, ranked 9th heading into week 12. Red zone efficiency, double-digit play drives, possession that ends in points, and a team that charted its way out of being the NFL's worst scoring offense, which Miami was in the first 4 games Tua Tagovailoa missed because of the concussion he suffered in Game 2. Check this one out. His level of proficiency has Tua Tagovailoa on pace to become the NFL's 10th starting quarterback in NFL history to put together 3 straight seasons of 100-plus passer-rated play. In his first 2 seasons in Mike McDaniel's offense, Tua Tagovailoa delivered an NFL-high 105 passer rating in 2022 and led the NFL in passing yards while producing a 101.1 rating in 2023. Heading into Week 12, he had, again, a passer rating over 100, right? He was 101.5. And you look at right now, after Sunday, his passer rating is actually 106.3. His passer rating right now is 106.3. And the company he's among is quite impressive. Aaron Rodgers has had 10 seasons with a 100-plus passer rating and did it 6 straight seasons. Drew Brees had 10 seasons with a 100-plus passer rating. He also finished his career with 6 straight seasons with a 100-plus passer rating and had a career passer rating of 98.7. Steve Young had 800-plus passer rating seasons, and 4 of them were consecutive. Tom Brady produced 8 seasons with a 100-plus passer rating and did it for 3 consecutive seasons. So even Tom Brady only did it 3 years in a row. You see 6 seasons by Rodgers and Brees is the highest. Peyton Manning had 2 separate stretches where he produced 3 consecutive seasons of 100 passer rating, having done it once with the Colts and the Broncos. Russell Wilson had 4 straight seasons of 100-plus passer rating and 7 in total. Mahomes, Rivers, and Kirk Cousins have each done it for 3 consecutive seasons. And like Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, and Cincinnati Joe Burrow, 2 of this year's top passers are on pace to achieve the 100-plus trifecta this season. Now, in fairness to some of the NFL legends like Dan Marino, Elway, and Jim Kelly, 100 passer rating seasons weren't common until football evolved into the pass first, second, and third offense we see today in the last 3 decades. That's why Marino only had 1 season with a 100 passer rating and had a career passer rating of 86.4. But that doesn't mean what Tua is flirting with should be watered down, because it serves as proof he's one of this era's better quarterbacks. How is Tagovailoa achieving such efficient play? Opposing defenses have used 2 high safety looks against Miami's defense most of the game. Most of the season, which has neutralized the deep ball Tagovailoa feasted on the first 2 seasons with Hill and Waddle. As a result, the Dolphins have operated a pick-your-poison offense, leaning on underneath routes generally to open players, and it's become a death-by-10-yard latchings. Tua has done a great job of understanding the value of progressions and playing on time, but also distributing the football, McDaniel said. This is next-level quarterbacking. Defensive dissection that's reminiscent of what Brees, a Hall of Famer, was able to do during the majority of his career. Coincidentally, Brees happens to be the quarterback I've compared Tagovailoa to since he left Alabama to become a 5th pick in 2020 NFL draft. They're similar because no matter what defenses do, they can quickly find the answer and produce the counter. Quote, Tua is the best in the world at anticipation and accuracy, Terron Armstead, who also protected Brees' blindside during his career, which started with New Orleans. Quote, he's that guy. He's Miami's seakeeper. So you look at Tua, about to become the 10th quarterback in NFL history to have 3 straight consecutive 100-plus passer rating seasons. Unbelievable stuff. The guy's just on fire right now. There's a belief in that locker room. It's unreal. I don't agree with... I broke this down yesterday during the game. I think Tua is going to be his own guy. I don't think he's going to be Brees. I think he has a stronger arm than Brees. I think he targets tighter windows than Brees did. Brees was a slant merchant late in his career. I also think he's come on earlier in his career than Brees did. If you remember, Brees didn't throw for over 4,600 yards well beyond, what was it, year 6, I believe it took, if you look at him, right? So, and you look at, what Tua's doing, and, people always say Sean Payton, but people forget he had Marty Schottenheimer before that. I mean, he had good teams in San Diego. But, yeah, he didn't throw for over 4,600 yards like Tua did in year 4. He didn't do that till year 8 and year 7 as a starter. I think Tua is more athletic than Drew Brees as well. So I think, yes, if you want to sit here, I don't know. I think Tua is going to be his own dude. I think that comparison is dead in the water because I just think Tua is going to be his own dude. Personally. Speaking of the quarterback position, should the Miami Dolphins continue to pursue Daniel Jones even harder than they thought they had to, given what we saw from Skylar Thompson yesterday? Because Jordan Schultz had this tweet this weekend. He said it was yesterday morning, right? And he said there's been significant interest in former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones since his release. Once he clears waivers, expect the Ravens, Vikings, Lions, 49ers, and Dolphins to pursue him, not only for a chance to join a contending team, but also develop in an offense system where he can learn and grow. A decision could come early as this week, sources say. Now, when he was released, I already had this info for Patreons and channel members. I had already heard privately that the Dolphins were interested in pursuing Daniel Jones as the backup option over Skylar Thompson. And that's basically what's happened. I do think the San Francisco, from what I hear privately, the 49ers are a strong candidate given Purdy's injury. I think Daniel Jones, I don't think he's very good. I think he needs his confidence rebuilt. I think he needs his game rebuilt as well. But higher upside than Skylar Thompson. He's won playoff game in the NFL. I think he's a more dynamic athlete, obviously, than Skylar Thompson. He's got a lot of starting reps under his belt. Is this the best backup option out there right now? You might be able to make the argument for that. Skylar Thompson is just not good. I mean, what we saw with the whiffed handoff yesterday was painful to watch. That was very painful to watch, okay? Like, let's be honest here. Skylar got to go. That's just all there is to it. That's just all there is to it. So let's get into the PFF stats from yesterday. And here we are. All right. Offensively, your highest graded player was Jalen Waddle. Jonnu Smith was 22nd. Taron Armstead was 3rd. Devon Achane was 4. Eichenberg was 5. How is Tua 68.2? It makes absolutely zero sense. They're grading, and you can go look and see how they've been doing their grading. But if you look at his return, week 8 and 12, I mean, we've gone over the numbers. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's the 26th ranked quarterback in the league per PFF. It makes zero sense. I tell all y'all, this is why I tell you, never trust the grades unless they match what your eye says. Your worst graded guys were Julian Hill and Odell Beckham. Well, that lines up. Jalen Wright, they clearly charged him with the flub. Alec Ingold and Malik Washington. When you look at passing pressure and depth, they had 2 for 4 from the deep level. From the intermediate level, they had him 7 for 9. From the short level, they had him 10 for 15. And from behind the line of scrimmage, they had him 10 for 12. When Tua was kept clean on 33 of his dropbacks, he was 25 of 33 for 3 touchdowns and 75.8 completion percentage. That actually jumps to 78.8 because there was a drop. Average depth of target was 5.9 yards. His yards per attempt was 8.3. Under pressure, he was 4 of 7 with 1 touchdown, 44 yards. Yards per attempt was 6.3. It dipped, but his average depth of target went up to 7.1. You look at his passer rating, it was 130 when he's kept clean and 115.5 when he was under pressure. You look at blocking, the Miami Dolphins, they allowed 7 pressures yesterday. Eichenberg was charged with 3. Robert Jones was charged with 2. Patrick Paul and Kendall Lamb each gave up 1. Defensively, your highest graded player was Chop Robinson at a 91.5. Zach Sealer, number 2, at an 89.6. Anthony Walker, number 3, at an 88.4. Bowser, number 4, at a 76.1. And Storm Duck, number 5, at a 75. Javon Holland, Nick Farrell, Calais Campbell, Cam Smith, and Emmanuel Ogbah were your worst graded guys. I thought Cam Smith, other than that late flag, which was an iffy call, I thought he was actually kind of locked down yesterday. You look at the pressures. We had 28 pressures. 10 of them came from Chop. 3 from Sealer, 3 from Ogbah, 3 from Ramsey, 2 from Quentin Bell and Calais Campbell, 1 from Dodson, 1 from Hand, 1 from Jones, 1 from Walker, and 1 from Bowser. 10 pressures from Chop Robinson yesterday, according to PFF. Oh my goodness, Chop. Wow. When you look at the coverage matchups from yesterday, Jordan Brooks was targeted 7 times, allowed 4 receptions, 42 yards, 2 first downs. Jalen Ramsey targeted 5 times, allowed 4 receptions for 53 yards, 3 first downs, but he had a pass breakup on Jalen Polk. Kader Kohu targeted 5 times, allowed 4 receptions for 34 yards and a first down. Jordan Poyer targeted 4 times, allowed 2 receptions for 21 yards, a first down, and he had a pass breakup on Hunter Henry. Javon Holland targeted 4 times, allowed 3 receptions for 44 yards, 1 first down, and 1 touchdown. Storm Duck targeted 4 times, allowed 1 reception for 10 yards. Tyrell Dodson targeted 3 times, allowed 3 receptions for 12 yards. Cam Smith targeted twice, allowed 1 reception for 6 yards. Sealer targeted once, didn't allow the reception. So there you go. When you break down the PFF grades, that's why I always tell you, don't trust the grades. Only trust them if they match your eyes. That's what I always say. I show them for you guys so you guys can talk about the PFF grades. Other than that, when you get into the next gen passing charts for yesterday, all right, this was Drake May and what he looked like against the Dolphins defense. Didn't have a lot of success to that right side. Only had 1 completion beyond 15 yards, and it was for that busted coverage touchdown. But he had that pick underneath. He was 22 of 37. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. His completion percentage over expected was minus 9.1%. So not great for Drake May against the defense by any stretch of the imagination. Tua, when you look at it, look at this. Dolphins used motion at their highest rate in a game this season at 93.7%, with Tua Tagovailoa completing 27 of his 37 attempts for 268 yards and 4 touchdowns. Tagovailoa's 4 touchdown passes off motion were tied for the most in any game this season heading into Sunday Night Football, which obviously didn't change. Tua, you see his passing chart, 29 of 40, 317, 4 touchdowns. Completion percentage over expected was plus 1.6%. And you see, even you look at do the math, he only took 5 shots, according to Next Gen Stats, beyond 15 yards. And only 3 of those took 6 shots, I apologize. And only 3 of those 6 came beyond 20 yards. So, and they have him as 2 for 3 at both levels. So, Tua, man, doing his damn thing. And I'm here for every single minute of it. The guy, he's balling right now. I love it. Watching these people squirm. And then when you look at the next gen stats from the game, Drake May, longest completed air distance, 49.2 yards. Tua Tagovailoa was 39.4. Fastest ball carrier yesterday was actually Christian Gonzalez at 20.52 on his scoop and score. Jono got up to 19.15 miles per hour. Fastest sack in the game was Sealer's sack at 3.6 seconds. Barmore had the fastest sack for the Patriots at 4.4. You look at Tua, they had him 1 for 2 on the deep level. Which is obviously different than what we saw from PFF, right? So you look at PFF and what they had with Tua Tagovailoa yesterday on the deep level. They had him 2 for 4. So on the intermediate level here, they've got him 2 for 3 to the left, 4 for 5 to the middle, 1 for 2 to the right. PFF had him 2 for 2 to the left, 5 for 6 to the middle, and 0 for 1 to the right. Short level, 5 for 6 to the left, 3 for 7 to the middle, 3 for 3 short to the right. They had him, PFF had him 2 for 3 to the left short, 6 for 10 over the middle short, and 2 for 2 to the outside right short. And then behind the line of scrimmage, Tua was 5 for 6 to the left, 1 for 1 to the middle, 4 for 5 to the right. PFF had him 5 for 6 to the left, 3 for 4 to the middle, and 2 for 2 to the right. So always the discrepancies we see. Devon Achane, most of his run success came wide right. Jalen Wright, most of his came wide left. When you look at it, Stevenson and didn't have much success. Gibson had success to the right side, whether the interior or to the right. You look at the receiving, the league average of separation is about 2.97 yards. Waddle had 2.74. Jonnu had 3.25. Tyreek Hill had 3.52. Washington had 3.59. And Beckham had 0.66. So Waddle had that big of a game, and he was under the league average of separation. Beckham was not creating separation at all. Jonnu and Hill and Washington were getting open. On the flip side, Keyshawn Boutte was under it at 2.25. Demario Douglas was over it at 4.36. Hooper was over it at 4.1. Hunter Henry was under it, just under it at 2.96, and Kendrick Bourne was under it at 2.25. You look at the average separation from the QB, the league average about 4.57 yards. Chop, once again, we've seen him a ton of times this year lead the Dolphins in this stat. He was 3.44 yards, so well below the league average. Sealer was below league average at 3.95. So was Ogba at 3.97. Campbell was beyond the league average at 5.07. On the flip side, Christian Barmore was the only Patriots defender under the league average at 4.4. So was Gotcha, actually at just under it at 4.56. And then Ekulier and Jennings were beyond it at 5.18 and 5.26. Man, what a game. What a big win, huh? And now we have the Green Bay Packers this week. I'll be live Thursday for that, don't worry. Wednesday we'll do a preview show. Tomorrow we'll break down a little bit of film and do all of that. But, right now, the Dolphins, we've seen this years past. They control their destiny. You win out, you're getting in the playoffs no matter what. Right? 11-6 is like guaranteed lock. You win out, you're in. You go 5-1, there's probably like a 95% chance. You start getting in that 4-2 area over these last 6, it gets real dicey real quick. So the Miami Dolphins need to do what they do best the last 3 weeks, and that's handle business and take care of the schedule ahead of them. This week's going to be tough. The 49ers, they got their butts whipped by the Green Bay Packers yesterday with Brandon Allen at the helm. Jordan Love, who everyone knows I'm a fan of and have been since that draft class, he's not really a world beater right now. We can beat them. We can win this game. 500 is staring us right in the face. And I'm going to tell you, like I said yesterday, if they go ahead and beat the Green Bay Packers, look out. This team is already rolling with a high level of confidence right now. You can see it. I mean, Calais Campbell, you saw it in his post-game interview when he's asked about potentially being traded. He stayed here because he believed they could go on a run. The belief on this team is real. It's real. Now, it's up to them. The ball is in their court. Let me put it this way. With their remaining schedule and how the teams look, if we don't make the playoffs, we got no one to blame but ourselves. There ain't no way about it. There is just no way about it. We will have no one to blame by ourselves if we don't make the playoffs with how our remaining schedule is panning out right now. Guys, like I said earlier, this episode is sponsored by BetUS. Go bet right now on BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. And go bet on that Monday Night Football game between the Ravens and the Chargers tonight. You use promo code YouTube150. Get your first 3 deposits matched by 150% up to $2,000. quickest payouts in the industry, 24/7 customer service. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the video. Appreciate all of you coming through on this Victory Monday. We will be back tomorrow. We will be back at it for a show where we'll talk about the latest going on in the Dolphins sphere. Also, we will break down a little film, so be on the lookout for that. Wednesday, we'll have the preview show, and then Thursday, it's live for Thanksgiving football, Packers and the Dolphins. I'll react to every lowlight, every highlight, and then we'll have the post-game show. So we got a lot of content coming your way, and then maybe we'll get an episode of Fin Too Deep this weekend post-game and keep it going. So we got a lot of content coming your way. Yeah, we should be perfect since Tua has been back, but we aren't. This is the hand that's been dealt. Let's win out. Let's kill narratives. Fins up. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Isn't it amazing how the media is starting to become huge fans of Tua Tagovailoa, even his biggest haters?